We're muted, Mike. Hey, Jeff. So you know I've been picking up the game of golf, right?
Pick it up, put him down.
You know I've been picking up the game of golf, right?
Yes, sir.
And me and Ethan have been hitting this pretty tough.
Okay.
And so I'm realizing that golf is simultaneously the most relaxing game ever and the most stressful game ever.
It is.
At the same time.
It is.
It's relaxing because I just love being out in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I just love riding around, and it's just not many people. There's no crowd or nothing. But the stressful part is not just messing up here and there, but it's knowing that there's somebody behind you watching you go and waiting on you to get done.
Yep.
And if you start hitting the ball all different directions,
like
and you're not even nowhere near right, like Jeff would, and you're like nowhere near getting it on the green, and you see them back there just like leaning on their clubs, like, and you know what they're thinking. What are these Negroes out here doing?
Why is he
What
here? Why?
But so we had these two cats behind us.
You know what they're thinking?
What?
Bet you he's voting for Kamala.
Well, at most golf courses,
he's voting for Kamala.
At most golf courses, that would be true. But so funny time, I had that feeling. There was two guys behind us, and from a distance, because I was not shooting well, and I had actually been doing okay, but this game I was just not shooting well at all from the jump. And this was in Newton Falls the other day. I just get nervous because these cats are staring at us from the golf cart, waiting on us to get done, and it's taking us forever, a million strokes. And sometimes you just pick it up and walk away, go to the next one.
Right.
And it's so embarrassing. Mm-hmm. But then finally they caught up with us on like the 6th or 7th hole. And it was two Amish dudes.
Oh my.
Playing with like homemade clubs. Like
they was just blowing them up.
And they were smoking these homemade pipes. And they weren't even good. They weren't good either. Because we were on the next tee and a ball almost flew over and hit us, and we on a whole nother tee, you know. So I just suddenly lost the anxiety because I'm thinking it's these two like upper crust professional golfing dudes that have been doing this for 60 years behind me, judging me. Like, what are y'all doing out there? It turned out these cats, they were like clueless.
Right.
So it's just funny, like, I'm going to stick with this game, but I'm going to go when nobody else is at the course.
That's what I need to know that time.
I need to go. I need to know when nobody else is golfing.
Because golf is not like, you know, putt. You can't just say, go ahead and be. You know, you try to.
You kind of can.
Can you?
You can. But like Grove said the other night, Dick and Grover said, you know, when you do that, then you end up stuck behind them. Mm. And now you're the one being tortured, waiting for them to get done. Yeah. So, and plus somebody's always going to be coming up behind you anyway, sooner or later.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I love it, man. I mean, I'm just sharing my journey,
fun.
you know?
Fun. I like it. It's just, I ain't got no time
Buy
to do
some clubs, brother.
I got clubs. I just need a bag.
Buy a bag, brother. I need a bag. Something.
No, I remember I went to Walmart. They didn't have them. I got to get one off Amazon.
Okay, that was your first foul on the play.
What you mean?
I said buy a golf bag, and you said I went to Walmart.
They got them. They do.
Bruh, I hope Grove is watching this.
Well, hey,
that's just something. That's just.
Hey, listen. If I get good, I'll go buy one of those $1 million bags.
But you can get like a used quality one.
From where?
Like Facebook Market or something, or Craigslist. I'd rather get a used quality one than get like, you know, that Spalding joint from.
Hey, the Spalding be the stuff, boy. You better ask.
Great value golf club. You go into Walmart getting great value golf clubs.
That's hilarious.
If you like Titleist, you'll love great value. Right. See? Wheatfield got you.
My man.
Wheatfield got you already.
Hey, my bag's so old.
Yo, yeah, he bought that Bagger Vance bag. He had that Jack Nicklaus joint. That mug was made out of cowhide and sheepskin.
All right, fellas, we live.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect. Hey, good evening, Pastor Wingfield, Dr. Robinson, Glenn Robinson.
How you feeling, David?
David
and Ali Reese. And up in Bowling Green, man, good to see your name popping up. Good to see your face still doing a phenomenal job at their Bowling Green University.
Listen, I ain't buying Dick's. Everything in Dick's is
Dick's is high.
Bubble gum is $20 at Dick's.
Man.
I ain't
and they be getting you too at that register. Yeah, they get you. Well, this is Religiously Incorrect Sunday night service, and we are brought to you by
the African American Community Fund. The African American Community Fund, established in 2020 at the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio, supports Black-led and Black-serving organizations throughout the 32 counties of Appalachian Ohio to elevate the quality of life and address disparities in African American communities. Please check them out at www.appalachianohio.org, or you can give them a call at 740-753-1111. Check them out.
You know what, Jason? I forgot about Play It Again Sports. You know
Where's that at?
They used to have one around here where they just have used sports equipment and stuff. Between my two boys, I need to open up my own shop, bro, because we started stacking up these spikes and bats that they don't use anymore. Man, I got a whole Todd sporting goods in my garage right now, man. Hey, y'all, we have a special guest, as you can see, our main man, the now ordained, consecrated, and confirmed Bishop Cameron Bowman.
Bishop.
We're so proud of you, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank
welcome,
you.
welcome
Thank
to
you,
Religiously Incorrect.
Yes, sir.
We promise not to destroy your newfound status in the next 45 minutes, you know. But,
Yes,
man,
sir.
welcome. Thanks for being with us,
Thank
man.
you,
We
my friend.
appreciate
Thank you.
you.
You got anybody in Meadville watching tonight, man?
Hopefully, if they still up, Meadville shut down at 8 p.m. So
Brother, listen, not 8 p.m.
ain't no street lights even on.
The
That's
street
just-
lights is off. They try to conserve energy. I love it.
Okay. I was about to say, you gonna be able to get back home?
Yeah, I'm back in the yo.
Right, back in the yo right now.
We
Yeah,
got street
you
lights.
good.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in. You know what to do. Like, share, comment, tag somebody. Tell them to come on in the room. We know y'all ain't in church, so come on in the Sunday night service. We're going to have a great time. But first things first. So the Orange One and Kamala are making a last-minute tear for votes. And so they've been doing everybody's podcast.
Right.
Charlemagne the God, just craziness. Trump was at a McDonald's today serving fries.
Did he have the suit on with the red tie?
He had like an apron on. But then it came out that he had the McDonald's shut down, and he was just posing for pictures showing himself serving fake people.
Wow.
I was about to say, I Imagine don't know that. McDonald's. still
Imagine
got
that.
And Kamala was at Bishop's church.
Kamala was at Bishop Bryant's church?
Bishop Bryant's church.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're making the tear. But the one funny thing is, not funny so much. Of course, we all know who Jeff's repping, Kamala. You know what I'm saying? I'm Team Trump. No, I'm joking. But Kamala is making a hard push and play for the votes of black men, and so is Trump.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say she shouldn't have to do that, because I do believe everybody should earn
They should definitely
Yeah,
earn
the votes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is a little disturbing to me that there's I can deal with skepticism. Let me say it like that. And I think that we have to own the fact that black men in general are skeptical of the political process, politics, anything that has to do with power. We don't count.
Right.
Because we're almost a part of that power. And we're engaged, informed voters. Where the average black man is not stupid, he's not uninformed or an idiot, but he's not as tied in as we are.
Right.
So there's just a natural skepticism, and she's making a very hard push. But I hate the fact that there is a lot of vitriolic, ugly, and sometimes completely untrue, accusations thrown her way.
Absolutely.
And I'll say that I think it's unfair, even though criticisms of policies and the effects of Democratic Party policies, Joe Biden's policies, even Barack Obama's policies are fair. But I don't like it when it feels like they are holding her to a standard they're not holding him to.
Right.
What will she do for us? Well, why is she this way? Or did she earn this? And not asking the same of him.
Well, and I think
That's
it's wrong
bothersome.
because a lot of it is, she's already vice president. Why haven't you made these changes? Well, she's not the president.
Why is that even a thing
It
right
is,
now?
and I don't
And it's an
understand
honest
it. I
conversation,
don't
too.
understand it.
In what world has a vice president ever outside of, well, let's be fair. Dick Cheney was running George Bush.
He was.
Dick Cheney was running that joint. But outside of Dick Cheney, when has any vice president. Nobody asked Mike Pence, what did you do and why didn't you pass a law?
Right. And I do like the fact that she was brave and bold enough to go on Fox, which that hasn't happened in no Democratic president.
I thought Barack did. He didn't?
I thought,
you might be right.
From what I read earlier, I can't remember who the last
Democratic
one was,
president has
but it's been
on
a
there.
long time. So and she held her own. So
right.
I really give her a lot of credit. I really give her a lot of credit for that.
I am the natural middle of the road type of person at this point in my life, and I'm sure that I know it bothers a lot of people. We're getting bashed right now for one of the picks we made as a part of our endorsement process.
That's bad.
Man, rough. But, even that being said, I feel that the sister is the most qualified, and I don't feel like black people, black men, black young people owe anybody their vote just because, but I do expect us to be a little more fair and take the time to be a little more informed about what it is we're saying.
Absolutely.
What's your take on the climate, you think, especially amongst like our age and down, when it comes to politics? What are you hearing and seeing, Bishop?
It's very interesting. I think people are searching for knowledge. I think they're searching for understanding. And even in all the searching for knowledge and understanding, I think that really is surprisingly, I'm seeing that there are people who, because, for instance, Kamala is coming out.
Kamala's the wrestler. Kamala's the wrestler, man. Kamala.
But I thought it was Kabbalah.
Comma. La.
Hey, it's about to be some black women outside with torches right now.
It's a comma right here. Comma.
La.
Comma la.
That's it.
Okay.
There we go.
Comma la.
My whole church coming after you this week. I'm just telling you.
I support her, though. I support her. Real talk. I support her. But I think there's people that, again, like you said, both parties are trying to, cater towards African-American voters, particularly that are in our age group as well. I think it's just interesting. It's very tense. I think I was telling my wife earlier that I don't ever remember seeing a climate like this politically.
Oh, it's ugly.
It's going, and I think it will get more ugly. And I'm gonna be honest. I still, and as much as I'm out there, as much as I'm talking to youth, as much as I'm talking to young people, I still see a lack of interest in politics, period.
Absolutely.
I still see a lack of those who are just saying, our vote does not count. It don't matter. They're going to put in there who they want to put in there. And I think we need to change that trajectory somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it. It's very difficult, but the people just have and these are the people who could actually swing.
Oh, yeah, they are the swingers.
They are the swingers.
swingers.
And they are just not going to do it.
And
I mean, as much as our people turned out for Barack because we wanted to have that first African-American president, I don't think it's going to be that way.
Well, it's not, and it for a few reasons. Number one, let's just be honest, man. A black woman and a black man just don't get the same respect. A black man. And then there is the element of freshness and not so fresh. Mm-hmm. We went through this before.
Yeah.
And not only can you not match the energy level, even if everything went perfect. Let's say everything with President Obama went perfect. You'd never be able to match that energy level again. Some people have that sense of achievement. You ever met white people who be like, I'm not racist, I voted for Obama.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, but there's also black people like that. Like, we did all that once. And once you expend all that energy once, it's really hard to come back around and expend it again. Yeah. Add to the fact that everything did not go perfect with Barack Obama. And there were disappointments in some people's eyes with Barack Obama. So if you add to that, why give that level of energy again? And I add one more thing to that. We really are living in a way that we will not admit in most of our traditional black organizations, churches, and just circles that are really involved in politics. Mm-hmm. I think more younger black people are living in more of a post-racial society than most of us want to admit. Yeah. And it's more about class and power than it is necessarily about black and white with younger people. Now, I know that race still matters, and race is already baked into class and power. It's already baked in, race and power, right? We already know that. But you can't get people to focus on the same arguments that most of us keep making. And I've been saying this for years now. The whole we fought for this, marched for this, died for this argument is not the bag anymore. And so we've said it before. Those of us who are engaged like this get upset, like, why aren't our, it's like a preacher, like, your best line ain't working on the congregation, like, this is the best I got, and you're like, they still ain't saying amen, like, what I'm gonna do, you know, to be honest, I feel like that's a problem because we need to shift and meet them where they are, and it still hasn't happened yet.
I think one of the biggest problems with that is we, and a lot of us, our people, are not looking for economic stability. They're looking for a stimulus check, and they still believe.
I think some people want stability.
No, there's still a whole lot of people who believe that Trump got him that stimulus check. He's gonna get us the money. Listen, if you're looking for a once a year check,
well, you already get that at tax time,
right? But that's what a lot of people are.
And I'll say this again. I'm a little disturbed by the sentiment, and I respect your opinion and your comment. Thank you. Please keep commenting. This is what we do, religiously incorrect, Mr. Anderson. But I've never personally, and it disturbs me to hear it, looked for, like, what's her plan for black men? Like, at this point, and she has said some things to the points like, I want to make housing more affordable and that will help black men. And we're like, that's not good enough. Oh, Pastor Kevin, here we go. I knew it was coming.
Some hateration.
I knew he was coming.
I'm sensing.
Kevin, we'll see you in the chat. we gotta bring Kev on. Hey, Kev, I'm telling you, we bring you on. We bring your childhood nickname out. So I'm warning you in advance. I'm not revealing it yet.
We gotta wait till the show.
We're not revealing it yet. I'll tell you when we go offline. Okay. Yeah, we family. We family. So we go back. We go back. Let's just say Kev used to be a wrestling fan if you didn't know. See, I'm telling that part. Thanks for popping in. That's what happens when you start talking. But anyway, and by the way, you're entitled to your opinion, Brother Anderson, of what you said concerning, the stimulus and stability and all that. But I will say that the idea that there's supposed to be some law that specifically says black men will get low interest rates loans as if nobody else will.
Right.
Even when slavery was abolished, it wasn't just black people. It was slavery is no longer legal, and no man shall be. So I get the idea that we want to feel like some things are specific to us, but I think everybody, white, black, male, female, have to be the president for all people, and they can dictate policies. Perfect example, when I gave some of my funds to some of the projects in the city of Warren for ARP, I didn't say this is for black people.
Right.
I didn't say when I give funds to youth sports, this is for black kids to play sports. I just knew that the majority of the kids who play in these leagues are African American.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they could really benefit because they usually struggle to fundraise and have the resources. So I didn't have some black man legislation or appropriation and only the black kids get to play Pee Wee football this year. But 95% of the Pee Wee football is black.
Yeah.
So you have to respect that when it comes to what Kamala is proposing. If she's proposing affordable housing, black people. Now, by the way, black people got to prepare themselves to be a part of the benefits that exist.
Absolutely.
So if you still buying up the club and the bar and this, that, and the other, but never have money for a down payment for your house, that ain't the president's fault.
Absolutely.
Because as people always say, if the hood is so broke, how come the Arabs and the Indians, everybody else making so much money off of us?
They keep on moving in. I guess if we're gonna just break it down, in order for her to get the respected Barack guest, she's gonna have to come out and say,
Here we go.
am so in love with you.
Jeff looks for a chance to sing in every episode, and he got it.
Ain't that what he done? Ain't that what Brock done?
He did do it.
He killed him when he done it. He got all kinds of votes when he done that.
But he was on keto. Welcome to Religiously Incorrect.
Yes, sir.
Pastor Jeff.
Bishop Bishop Morris in the house.
Bishop Morris in the house.
Morris in the house. Boy,
God
we
bless
knew
you,
you
Bishop Morris.
bring out the bishops.
It's coming.
You gonna bring out the bishops.
And thank you very much, Sister
Bless you,
Rosalind.
Grace.
The president cannot do much without the Senate and that. So I appreciate it. And we thank you for all your comments. We ain't going to talk about this all night, so thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all know what time it is. If you don't, you're about to find out.
Meme of the week.
Meme of the week.
Meme of the week.
Meme of the week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
We are, these are all jokes. We are just playing.
All right, so today's meme of the week is short, but I'm going to just give you the context because we might not be able to hear it in the studio, but you all will hear this at home. There is a gentleman in what appears to be a youth service praying against distractions so that the youth will be focused on the word of God and receive the power of the Holy Spirit in their lives. And this is a very powerful prayer, but it doesn't quite match the scene. Go ahead.
Eliminate all distractions in the room. I pray that these students would focus in, that they would be hungry to hear your word. God, I pray that you would pour out your heart and your love over these students.
So cow suit preacher.
Cow suit preacher.
I need to hear this.
Cow
Can you
suit
play
preacher.
it from over there? Can you, I
He
need
was
to hear it.
praying for distractions.
So was he trying to be the
He was
distraction?
praying against distractions. He was praying against distractions and that God would help them to focus. Play it one more time, and I want you to see how serious everybody else in the room was as he was praying. A cow was praying, by the way, a man in a cow suit. But they're deep. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd.
Eliminate all distractions in the room.
Not
I pray that these
Chick-fil-A.
students would focus in, that they would be hungry to hear your word.
Why?
God, I pray that you would pour out your heart and your
We
love
can never get away with this.
over these students.
Who does this?
I don't want to hear another word about black preachers wearing loud suits and fancy robes in the pulpit if this is what's going on
Oh man.
in evangelical churches.
That is crazy.
What in the pasteurized milk is he? What in the holy cow is going on here? What in the Chick-fil-A is going on?
That is great.
I mean, we always say it don't take all that.
Oh no, I won't try that.
He said,
The devil is a liar. Yeah. I will never.
Jason said this is
Listen,
Glenn said you got milk.
at the radical church, y'all gonna get there at the radical church.
Conservative.
Jason said this is utterly distracting. That is comedy. I mean,
comedy.
I hope somebody got saved or at least got a sip. Something.
Saved us.
Something. Save the sip.
Save the sip.
Save the sip. Holy cow, that's crazy. I mean, I just don't get it. And I've seen this. It's not the first time. You know who it reminds me of, unfortunately?
What's that?
Your favorite preacher, Michael Todd. The trampoline, rapping, throwing syrup on Bibles.
I think that's worse.
You think that's worse?
I think that's worse. I mean, some things are distractions. Some things are just.
Well, the caption on the video was a distraction praying against distraction, which is exactly what was going on. A distraction.
I would have. As soon as I walked in, I'd have just.
Yeah, tip out. Yeah,
Time to go.
That's hilarious. Tipping cows and saving souls. I love it. Well, thank y'all. You know what to do. If you have a good meme, you can send it to us at religiouslyincorrectpodcast@gmail.com. We try to filter through them. We don't always use what you send us. We do send or use some of them. What I'm seeing now is that some of the memes get passed around so much they're sending us stuff we already played or it's just too played out. But we appreciate your efforts. We always welcome any suggestions and and helpful elements that could help us be a better show. So make sure you do that. Hey, we're moving on, and we want to thank our sponsors who help us become and do what we do. And that is the Phillips Care Lawn Services. They've been in business for well over a decade, serving Trumbull, Mahoning, and surrounding areas. You know you need to get them leaves up. I have heard that if you just let them lay there, they like fertilize your lawn and all, but your neighbors will probably call their councilman and complain about it, and I don't want to hear about it. So call Phillips Care, and they will take care of you summer, winter, spring, and fall. And call 330-219-7916, and they'll get you right. While you're at it, check out Phillips Cleaning Service. They do residential and commercial cleaning. They are doing floor cleaning, basic cleaning, carpet upholstery, wood floor cleaning. Don't waste your time. Let them do it. Look up Phillips Care Cleaning on Facebook at Phillips Care LLC. Planning the perfect event? Look no further. At Annex Events, we've got everything you need to make your event unforgettable. From stunning tents, comfy chairs, and all the extras, we've got you covered. Super Bowl parties, graduation parties, corporate events, and of course, church banquets and anniversaries. We cater to all. Plus, our friendly team will handle the setup and breakdown so you can relax and enjoy the day. Call Annex Events and let us make your next celebration a hit. If you mention the Religiously Incorrect podcast and receive 10% off, you will receive 10% off your first rental. Call 330-979-2909 or visit annexevents.com.
Can I say this real quick about Annex?
Yeah.
Please.
Say it.
Use them and stop trying to steal our chairs from the church.
Stop stealing church chairs.
Y'all know y'all got some church chairs.
We know Thanksgiving's coming.
Call Annex, please.
Call Annex.
On the patio.
Call Annex. And stop calling that shady trustee that you know will let you in the basement.
If your chairs at your party got the church's logo on the back, just
right.
Don't do it.
Or it says property to rental place and
right.
stenciled on it, man.
Especially those wood joints. Don't use those.
Man, them wooden joints.
Didn't Second Baptist use Annex?
We did, and we are very proud to have used Annex for our Worship Without Walls service and church picnic. They did a phenomenal job.
For my daughter's graduation.
Oh, you did?
For her graduation party.
Excellent.
Yep, I used them for her graduation.
So that's whose tables I stole that time, and
Yeah.
My man, Annex. Now we got another one. Now Marlon want to be on. Man, we're going to have Marlon and Kevin on. They called them
same time. We're going to have a round table.
And it's going to be called Bitter Brothers.
There's always one in the family.
Always one. That's why you should have accepted your call, Marlon. This is what happens.
Choose ye this day.
Listen, there's a seat just for you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we're here to talk. Here's our subject. It's one word.
One word. Just one.
Just one.
Oldish. Hey, ain't that what the preacher was saying? I just got one word for you. One word for you today.
30 minutes later.
One scripture.
My word is oldish.
Oldish.
I was young.
But now I'm old.
Kinda.
A little bit.
Kinda.
I'm graying.
I'm oldish. We're going gray.
Mm-hmm.
We're feeling our age.
Yes, sir.
Are you 40 yet, Cam?
No, sir. I'm 38.
You don't count, man. Get out of here. Never mind. Cancel the show. Bye.
I was invited. I'm 38.
No, man. Never mind. Change the name of the show. Yeah, I thought you were like 40. I thought you were like right behind me.
No, I'm 38.
I have 4 years on you?
The show is called Oldish with me and Todd, and I'm getting there with Cam.
This
guy was wearing cow suits last week in youth ministry. Anyway, what we're talking tonight, but it's still relevant to the young guy in the room. What it means to go from being the young minister, the young buck in the church, and we've been that young, green, inexperienced, sitting on the side. Here's how you know you're the young religious. Kevin is like going in. I'm talking about old show, Religiously More Correct. The one time you tune in and start commenting, Kevin is going scorched to earth right now.
Religiously more incorrect.
He'll be building a set in his garage right now. Talking to somebody to snatch his boy's microphone. So anyway, we were the young buck, and here's how you know you were the young buck in the church. When you would go to fellowship services and you're the young minister, and over the course of that fellowship service, you had to get up and move at least 3 times.
Absolutely.
Because another older preacher came in.
Or you sit in the audience.
Right, You end up in a choir stand on a stool. Now you just stand off to the side like an armor bearer. You ain't even an armor bearer. You just stand on the side of the wall now. That's how you know you're young. But we're not anymore.
No,
We're not.
Back in the day, I was young.
But
I'm not a kid anymore. And it's like, what is that journey like now? We're not the fathers of the church. We're not that yet. We're not ready to sit back and be wise sages and y'all go on ahead and do all of it. You know, we still out there walking on pews, but we're not kids either. So it's been a good 20 years for me now. I preached my first sermon when I was 19, and I was pretty much speaking and like going to services, mainly to start with my wife's, pastor right down the street, good elder Calvin Evans, and going to anniversary services, going to Sons of Thunder services, going to district meetings and all of that stuff. And you just become that guy to give you a little chance to do a little 5-minute sermonette, or you get invited to some churches. And then you become a pastor, and you're still that young pastor just trying to figure it out, and it's fresh, it's new. And now I got 13 years of pastoring under my belt. Senior pastoring under my belt. So I'm technically experienced, but I'm not old yet. And not quite, you on your way, Osborne. They start calling you unc and auntie.
I got somebody trying to do that to
trying
me.
to call you unc.
I'm like, we bruh.
Right, listen. When they start hurting your feelings. Unc.
Exactly.
And the saving grace is right now, at least in our little city, we don't have this large contingency of young ministers, so we're still the young ministers, but we're really not. We're really not.
Yeah.
So there isn't a group of us under us right now.
Right.
Oh.
There ain't a bunch of 20-somethings like chomping at the bit with little collars on trying to, run in, not in our little city. So
And
it's coming now.
honestly, I think that's one of you. There's not a lot of ministers. I don't see a lot of ministers at a lot of churches anymore.
Very true.
You don't see a lot of
just
ministers. Not young ones.
No,
not young ones, especially.
Yeah.
And sometimes not, period.
Right.
But so Bishop Bowman, I mean, we've been at this for a long time.
Yes, sir.
We've been at this since organ and drums.
Yes, sir.
Revival nights.
Yes, sir.
But then we've come along and been those young ministers. What do you feel are some of like the lessons you learn from being that young guy that you look back now that you're grateful that you've learned along the way?
That what they told me was true. The wisdom that the fathers gave was so important. It was from experience. And there's certain things that if I would have just listened, there's certain traps in certain situations, certain circumstances that I could have avoided. But you know how it is. We're young and, going at it, and we spry and we think we know. And there's certain things, even my father. Today's my father's birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Happy
Bless you, God.
birthday
Bless
to
you.
the late, great Pastor Cameron Bowman.
Yes.
My
yes,
man.
Yeah.
my
Man, and we love and respected him, man. And we're
Thank you
glad
for
you
taking
could
the
be with
time
us
to come
tonight,
in.
man. But what better way than to talk
Exactly.
about how you've grown and learned, man.
Exactly. That's what
So
I
talk
said.
about some of that wisdom, man.
Yeah, my dad. One thing, and I'll say this as far as again, me being 38, and I talked about this a little bit before on different platforms. But one thing that stuck out to me was when my father called me, and he was basically on his deathbed. He was in the nursing home, about to go to the nursing home, and again, I was praying about this assignment to be the bishop in one body, covenant fellowship. And being young, and there's a lot of people that misrepresented the call. So I didn't want to just jump in it.
Didn't want to jump into
But my
it.
father gave me words that really just stuck out to me and just messed me up. He said, "Son, don't be me." And what he was talking about was, again, the fathers have been through certain experiences, and we know in denominational context, sometimes the opportunities can be held up.
Yeah.
So we live in a dispensation and a time frame now where, like you said, time is speeding up.
Right.
And I believe that where it is, some of us had to wait, our forefathers had to wait, there's opportunities that they could have walked into that they didn't. And my father was saying, "Son, go ahead and do. I feel God is really
Right.
in this."
Right.
And so I'm so glad that I listened.
And I'm glad you mentioned that about some of our fathers and some of the older ministers we grew up under, perhaps being held back in some ways. Some of them thought it was like a sign of humility to allow themselves to be passed over. And people are like, your time is coming, or wait your turn, and da-da-da-da, when there was no intention to give them a turn.
There it is.
At all. And so they thought out of humility and loyalty, we'll just stick with it. And then we have a little flip situation where people can just go after it. And like you said earlier, some of the younger ones have not done it wisely or with right intention. So it's a little different dynamic, but that doesn't mean you should not pursue. And when I say the word pursue, I don't mean go after it like with ambition. Yeah. Like that's what's driving it. But if the door opens and the opportunity comes and someone or someone's see enough in you and confirms what God's saying to you, this idea, and maybe that's a bit of a side effect of, because the older generation waited so long, they can't help but think that we're moving too fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They can't help, because when they were our age, in our late 30s, early 40s, early 50s, they were still, some of them being treated like junior ministers.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And being put down. So we get looked at as, you're moving too fast, son. You're doing too much, son. Da, 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 da. And I'm not saying they're talking out of bitterness, but I think they're talking out of unfamiliarity with the experience of having the opportunities that we have. Yeah. They cannot relate exactly. And that kind of still haunts them. I like just the practical knowledge I got from some of the older ones. And it could be funny sometimes. I mean, Pastor Evans would say, don't make them happy twice, son. Happy to see you get up. Happy to see you sit down.
I still use that one.
I still use that. Don't make them happy.
I tell you what, man, me and my wife was talking last night, and, I came up under President Harrison. I'm glad I just saw him on. There you go, right there.
What's up, Mr. President?
President Harrison. And I was talking to my wife, and, I was so excited about getting my first church, But before I got my first church, I was at Union Baptist, and watch this. Pastor Harrison was literally writing a check for me to go to Bible college.
Wow.
And I stopped college and so now I'm paying for Bible college. Pastor,
and listen,
President,
I need to pull that check back out.
President, I'm trying to come back, Doc. It's costing me now, Doc.
What's the expiration date on that joint?
Yes, sir. Me and Minister Mike was riding up to Bishop Joey Johnson every week, and Pastor, and it was just like, I take the class and he'd write a check, and thank God. And I'm just like, now it's like, dude, you was stupid. You should have just went on ahead and finished that jump.
Right. Yeah. One of the things I learned, and my father gave me this advice, that there is a certain level of engagement you get when you're not a threat or perceived as a threat or perceived as at the same level of other ministers. And you'll be their favorites until they start to fear you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was like, and he would say it, and I'm like, man, you don't know, you don't be out here like this. I'm just out here fellowship, and they love me. He's like, yeah, they love you because you're just a minister, and you play the organ, and you're always there to help, and da-da-da-da-da. Become a pastor and see what happens.
That's right.
Let your church grow. Let people say your name a little more than they say their name. Sir. Watch what happens.
Absolutely.
And it happens. And it levels out. And now there's like a great mutual respect and all these elders. And I'm not saying all these pastors hating on me, and I'm not playing that game. It's not. But the engagement does shift a little bit.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And the funny thing is, you go through that season, and there was so much you were unaware of that was going on behind the scenes of the church while you were just being a little young minister. Oh my God. You don't know the stress of trying to make ends meet, the stress of trying to placate and please so many different people at the same time. Yeah. If I knew now, we all know what it's like to go out and have to preach or minister after dealing with some mess.
Yeah.
It could be just a crazy phone call. Somebody pulled you to the side. You found out there was a dispute going on in the church, or you could be in a room full of ministers and find out this one don't like that one, and you got to make all these quick. How do I navigate and balance and all this? And then you realize, man, when I was a 23-year-old preacher sitting in the back, all this was going on.
Yeah.
And you had
And you sometimes didn't even
oblivious to it.
oblivious
to
you know, to little smart
all you
comments.
was trying to do was hold somebody's Bible.
Oh, that's all I'm trying to do.
Just pure hearted.
Can I pray for the offering? Can I just pray for the offering? And so it's like I one of the things that I've learned over the past 20 years, and most importantly 13 years of pastoring, is ministry is complicated and sensitive.
It is.
And it takes an amazing amount of mental stability and strength, but also like flexibility. Like you got to be like emotionally and mentally flexible to deal with all the changing feelings you're going to have. Sometimes in the midst of like one 90-minute service.
Absolutely.
You can go through a range of things. I mean, we all was raised just preaching.
Yes, sir.
That was it. I mean, we went from musicians, couldn't wait to preach.
Absolutely.
You know, you served and couldn't wait to preach. Then we found out, what do you do when you had to preach after you spent all night at the hospital with somebody who just died?
Listen.
And the people either don't know or don't care. They still want.
Right. And sometimes it's not just, you talk about before, you might have a meeting afterwards.
That's right.
You at this trustee meeting, this deacon meeting, this, you gotta, what do you do when
Man, I'm hooping and hollering and walking on pews in the back of my mind. You niggas are about to It's about to
But if I can interject as well,
Yeah,
I
please.
think that was one of those things that really caught me off guard when my father passed away. Was, I'm gonna be honest, just some of the insensitivity of members. Oh my God! It just boggled my mind. Like, now you want to act a fool.
Like, do you not know where I'm at right now in the headspace? And so here's the, because we all get it. I don't mean to bother you, but I'm about to bother you.
Exactly.
I don't want to be a bother. I'm like, we here now. I mean, what am I gonna say? Get out my face?
Yes, sir.
You know, like what? But we go through sensitive times too.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I can't imagine. We have two within our midst, Bishop Bowman, Pastor Barnes, having just gone through the loss of their fathers. And people care, but I think they really do care. I don't think people don't care, but I think they don't know how to fully live out that care.
Absolutely.
And don't realize what they're saying.
They want to, their issue is just as important as your tragedy.
Yeah.
In their minds.
In their minds.
Right.
Their issue is just as important as your tragedy.
Right.
So.
And so, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that has really ingrained me is just the complication. I tell people that a lot now when we run into situations, especially if I have to talk to other leaders or members about, well, how are you going to work this out? Or what decision are you going to make? Or what are you going to do about him or them or this or that? I'm kind of like, first of all, let's just slow down. This is complicated. I wish there were just some quick black and white. And honestly, we're still old enough to remember the black and white church of just sitting folk down, silencing them, writing letters, kicking people out of churches. You know, whatever your dispensation was. You was Baptist, you was writing letters. You have now been dismissed by a vote of the congregation. If you come from some of our traditions, you were sat down, silenced, excommunicated. That really doesn't exist for us anymore. We have to live and minister in this very complicated world. And because we're younger, we're expected to be more sensitive, even though we have old school values. Absolutely. We're expected to be more sensitive to the things that used to just be cut and dry back in the day. You know, out of wedlock pregnancies or inappropriate relationships or somebody struggling with sexuality
going to the front of the church.
Going to, that's what I'm saying. There ain't no going to the front of the church and admitting your sins no more. And you almost, people get mad if you call it a sin. Quite frankly.
Oh, yes.
How dare you?
Oh, yes.
You know, so but I'm just saying, like, I'm grateful to be in this season, but I also realize there's a lot of wisdom from that old school learning that helps us to navigate it.
I think that we needed it because half this stuff is not taught in seminary.
Absolutely.
Listen,
Most of this stuff is not.
They do not teach you how to be a pastor.
Ministerial training does not cover sit down and the backlash and all this stuff that we have to go through.
Right. I'm in a master's for pastoral studies, and It ain't teach me how to be a pastor, to be honest.
Right.
Not the black folk. Maybe I can go preach to some Southern Baptists, pastor them, but they need a whole course on how to pastor Negroes.
Right.
There needs to be a whole course because it's a whole different beast. All cultures are different, and we're in our own subculture, and you don't know how people can be until they be it.
But you know what? If I can interject
Yes.
again, my church is extremely multicultural, as
You're
you guys
right.
know.
You're
so
right. Cam got shouting white folk, man, and I love it.
Shouting white
One of them
folks,
is
shouting
online.
white kids.
Sharon McKinney.
Hey,
she
Sharon,
online.
you all know because I've been there. I've
Yeah,
been up there.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love it, man. Shoot.
Yeah, they be going in. But yeah, I mean, honestly, from my experience, it's not really much difference as far as the different contexts.
I get it.
I deal with the same
They're just as demanding.
challenges, from all races.
The saying is humans are humans.
Yeah.
Humans be humaning. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I want to talk a little bit about like our personal development just as men. Like we have families.
Yeah.
You know, we're a little older now. So here's one thing that I can speak to, and I'm glad most of y'all know Coach Mike, he's one of our road dogs, and I'm not quite official. Pastor Glenn is another one. I'm not quite at armor bearer. Like I still feel uncomfortable saying that's my armor bearer.
Right.
Yeah.
But first of all, they do it. First of all, they serve in that function. I appreciate them greatly. A part of me growing as a man, and some of this does come from Lady Shamika, is accepting the need for someone to be around, beside, maybe driving long distances, making sure I'm straight before and after services, and not like, sometimes it was the pride. I've talked about this before on the show. My dad was fiercely independent. He wasn't going to be the guy. And he was right about some of the people that take it too far. Because you got cats walking in with, they got 9 members and 8 of them are armor bearers. Yes. You know what I mean? You'd be like, all right, come on. But I had to accept it's not good to be driving an hour to a revival and driving myself back at 11 o'clock at night. It's not good to act like I'm not sweating like a horse at the end of service, standing next to a door trying to shake people's hands. And Mother Marsh went out and got me a cape and said, put this on. I do understand I need to accept that if I want to be healthy, I have to let people help me.
Absolutely.
Look after me. And sometimes it be little small stuff, and I really do appreciate it. Like, here's a fresh towel, or here's a mint, or, you about to be shaking folks' hands, here's a mint, or here's some Gatorade. I had to come down from that toxic feeling about what it means to be taken care of and accept at my age, I might find myself out of sorts. I might find myself needing somebody to get me out of a situation and know that I need to sit down, and I don't know I need to sit down. You know what I mean? Yeah. You need to go to the office and chill out. Yeah, and I'm over here trying to, be Mr. Friendly and all this. Yeah. So I've come to accept that as a man. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you guys feel like?
I'm with you, man. And I think that, honestly, I have the greatest pastoral care team this side of the planet.
Right.
Down in Steubenville. I mean, just from making sure the towels are there, making sure, one of the things that just absolutely blew my mind is, I start buying all these robes, and I have all these robes, and to take my robe off and to come back the next Sunday and it's there, dry cleaned and ready to go.
Wow.
I've never had that before. I'm like, who done this?
Right.
I didn't know that came with the package.
I'm not there yet. Hint, hint. I had to take my robe to the cleaners last week. Hint.
That's
your mints are always filled up.
Right,
and it is such a blessing to have that, and to have people, last week and somebody just stopped there. It's like, you're tired, go to your office.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And so to have people who actually care is just a phenomenal feeling.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal feeling. So I totally agree with you.
I feel it.
I agree as well. I remember Bishop Morton, when he was starting Full Gospel, his wife told the story of how he was in the airport and passed out by himself.
Wow.
And from that point on, I believe that's when he had somebody travel with him. So absolutely, I believe that there's need. I mean, I'm not saying it's got to be all grand, because we all grew up in church and we've seen certain people that have
Oh yeah, grandiose.
So I was
yeah.
gonna make a new word, grandiosity.
Listen, you still Baptist, you got it. Grandiosity.
Grandiosity. You know, they just
Substratum of
You gotta add some syllables to enjoy it.
the substratum of the scripture.
Right.
But you know,
Sometimes you just need a witness.
yes.
So nobody can say, man, you see how he was looking, or he hugged me too tight, or that. You need a
Absolutely.
witness.
Oh, yes.
You need somebody
that.
just
And I think when you're talking about somebody who, and like you said, maybe the armor bearer isn't but just somebody who you got with you, man. You know, I was blessed to be Pastor Harrison's armor bearer for several years, and it was more, you know, I didn't have to say much.
Yeah.
I wasn't there to have conversations and dap it up and talk to him.
Yeah.
He was getting ready for church, and I just sat there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was able to carry his towel, make sure his towel and things of that nature, his water, whatever it was. I was blessed to be your armor bearer for several years.
Man,
you know
I
what I mean?
appreciate
And it was a blessing to actually, you know, I knew that Todd didn't like the full water bottles. So I would go out on my own and get him the little ones.
I'm the mini water bottle guy.
I would get to church. They wasn't there. I would go up to write it and make sure he had the little water bottles. You know what I mean? I was the one who told you, bro, every once in a while you got the little white piece.
Listen, not the white stuff.
Make sure you get that
Man,
on.
Listen, I'll be rubbing hard on Sundays now just because.
I'm like this whole
sermon. You about to catch me slipping.
Exactly.
You about to have me on meme of the week. What is this preacher on?
I mean, but if you don't, if you're gonna do it, man, you have to. It's
got to be in your heart.
It's a delicate.
And that's the thing about it, Pastor Stanford, is we're being served, but we still have that servant's mentality. And if we get around any of our older fathers, we take on that role because we're not yet them yet.
Yeah.
So when I went down to Pop Troy's funeral, and Bishop Clark was there, Pastor Troy is there, and all that, I literally became Bishop Clark. I got your robe. Bishop Clark, I got this. I'm good. I'm walking with you. I'm getting you out of here. You know, everybody's, of course, he wants to speak to everybody. He's hot. I could tell. He's been emotionally drained because him and Pastor Keith are best friends. I could tell. So I become that instantly, knowing that as soon as I get home to Warren, somebody will be doing that for me.
Yes.
But, you know, we still have that heart of being served. And it's almost, now that we've been served and we know what it's like to be served, we are actually more appreciative of the opportunity to serve others.
Yes.
You know, because we're like, man, now we know the relief it brings to us, the blessing it is to us. If I have the chance to carry one of my fathers, one of my elders' briefcase, even if now I look at them, some of that I wasn't like super close to, but you start to build that respect for, I want to be there for them the way I'm watching people be there for me. Absolutely. You know, so if I'm in a room with an older pastor, that pastor is going to be fine as long as I'm there. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I want to talk about one other element that really hits our generation of being oldish, and that is technology. Mm-hmm. We have literally grown up as pastors with technology in the church.
Oh, yes.
I mean, from the bringing click tracks in the music, the big MP3, the MPCs, the big desk MPCs on the drum sets, to now we're all live streaming. We're doing TikToks.
Yes, sir.
You know, what have you learned? I mean, we started with, we are the ones that coming off of tape ministry.
Yeah.
Into DVD burner ministry.
Oh my God.
Then we were like uploading YouTube videos like after service, like putting our stuff on. Now we're all live streaming and doing virtual Bible studies. What are some of the things you've learned over the past 10, 15 years about social media, live streaming that we never could have imagined, 10, 15 years ago?
I hate it.
You hate it?
That's what I learned. I know it's necessary, but I've never been that technological person.
Right.
But I know it's necessary, and I think now it's even more necessary. You almost have to do it. You almost have to do a TikTok. You almost have to do a live.
Well, here's the oldest part, though, and I want to throw this at you guys. Do you have parts of you starting to say, like, man, I ain't doing that. I'm too grown for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you see preachers, you see trends going, and people like really taking it further than what we've gotten comfortable with. Yeah. I have some oldish moments. Like, I don't really want to do like behind the scenes stuff. Like, that's a big thing. BTS, they call it. Like, a picture of me getting out my car. Good morning, y'all. We getting ready to worship, blah, 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 blah. Like, a part of me is like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Some of those I think they're whack commercials. Everybody's
them are
falling
nice,
on
some of them are
chairs. Everybody's
nice.
falling on chairs, or the trust fall, or whatever. You know, are there some things that you will or won't do?
Absolutely. But I think with technology, I'll say this: for ministry, there are no excuses.
Okay.
And I'll take it even from a musical context, because like you said, you know, we grew up playing, right?
Right.
So now what I've learned how to do is there's so many apps. And again, I'm in media.
It's a lot of tools.
They're not musicians for the context of our type of church in Meadville. So I just sat down one day. I said, okay, I'm going to learn how to work these apps. And so, you know, there's Sundays we don't have musicians, but nobody can tell. Because if you learn how to use this technology, you know, and I think that applies with all technology. It's all about context, you know, using it for the glory of God and not the glorification of your flesh while you're doing extra stuff.
I mean, you're getting, you know, kudos on that right now. Bishop Cameron is a genius when it comes to modern technology in our church. And I mean, you know, when we were coming up, you didn't have music. You played a tape.
Exactly.
And sang with it. And when the song is over, now you can stand in the pulpit. I've watched you do it. I've had to do it before. Man, you can loop that sucker.
Yes, sir.
Bishop Bowman is probably one of the best with it. I mean, make the whole service flow. And we grew, like I'm saying, that's something you had to grow up into out of necessity.
Yes, sir.
But also you grew because you familiarized yourself with what was available then. And now you're doing it with what's available
I remember
now.
having Mark Jennings play stuff on a tape, recorded.
Wow, back in the day.
That was crazy, man. That's absolutely nuts.
And that was cutting edge then.
Yeah, it was cutting edge.
Is there anything you won't do that you see with technology or like modern trends in church? Do you feel like some things are overkill?
I hate the whole fog lights. I hate
So you're still not
church.
into the. You still don't like dark church.
Yeah,
I hate dark church. I don't want. Don't turn my lights off, bro.
So y'all are definitely oldish on that. Y'all are oldish on dark church.
This is not the club.
And we are. That's a generation thing. It really is. It's like the younger ones, you know, and some not always younger, but younger ones. It's just not a thing to them. They don't mind it. But for us, we like turn the lights on. You can't see the devil in here.
Right.
I think for me, that's hilarious.
I don't know who to pray for.
But I think for me, I kind of wanted like a feel of like, I would hate, for lack of a better term, like a concert feel where people feel more like participatory. I don't
Like
know,
liberated to.
Yeah, as far as, so I moved the podium, you know.
When it's worship?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just
Okay.
open stage, and then, you know, when it's time for me to preach. Podium. So
Okay.
as far as that, I'm modern, but
Right.
I ain't no dark, ain't no turn off
I'm
the
sorry.
light, ain't no Teddy Pendergrass.
He said he moved the podium. I just remember Todd put wheels on it.
Man, listen.
I got wheels. I got wheels.
You got wheels too.
You ain't got homemade meals.
Yeah, but that mug almost slid off the pulpit on more than one occasion.
Oh, Lord.
It had brakes on it, and we didn't always hit the brakes. Brother. Okay, here's one for me. And Pastor Tatum, excuse me, said we all don't need an LCD screen in the backdrop. And I will concur that the oldish part of me, I'm not anti-LED screens, LCD screens. I'm not anti the screens. I'm anti trying to put them in spaces where they don't belong. And people who over-invest thinking that that's like a magic bullet for ministry. Like if I put our church in debt, putting a 40-foot, video screen that's going to bring them in. Doc, you still can't preach. Like, if you can't preach, it doesn't matter how many screens you put up. But I also just feel just for and this is me, and maybe this is not oldish, maybe it's Georgish. Because I'm so frugal-minded, I hate seeing such an imbalance of investment.
Yeah.
Like you're just trying to keep up with the Joneses in a way without a real vision and strategy for it. Yeah. And it's like everybody bought this, so I'm buying it too. And these things are not cheap at all. Right. Take me to Walmart, give me that great value TV, put it on both sides. And if the ministry grows, then we'll invest. But that's a part of me that I don't mind it. I feel like it can help and enhance, and certain churches are definitely built and using it great. Yeah. But I feel like some folk are just like, here's the newest toy of the week.
Yeah.
Let's spend $40,000 on it.
Yeah. And sometimes it just, like you said, it doesn't matter. You remember when I was at Beulah, and I got a 2-inch, smallest screen ever. Couldn't nobody see it from the back row.
Couldn't tell you nothing.
But you know what I mean. But you were trying to keep up, and you know sometimes it doesn't match. You know, and you have to know where you are. You have to know what context you're in, and you know the type of church you have. You know, sometimes you know if you know, I see a lot of people trying to take out their pews and put
in chairs.
Sometimes it just don't work.
It doesn't always
It
fit.
doesn't always work. Dude.
Go ahead, Big Mike.
I have a question. How do you guys feel about the digital Bibles now? So when you tell people to turn to this scripture and that scripture, and everybody got their phone or
I mean, I'm using mine.
That's what I'm about to say. I use mine every week.
I think it's just that's just
It's
way.
convenient.
Yeah.
That's just where it's at now.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it also helps because you know, honestly, half the people didn't know. You know, half the people don't know.
They wouldn't know where to find it. They wouldn't know where to
You
find
put
it.
that John in, it's like you there,
They're
John.
like, hey Siri, please take me to St. John chapter 6.
Hey, back in the day, you was like, if you got it saved, man, if you don't say wait on me, you be waiting on me for 15 minutes.
You be waiting on me 15 minutes. Right? You might as well sing a whole nother selection.
You hear the papers turning.
Man, hey y'all, I be like, you just look at the screen, y'all. Just look at the screen.
Use the front of the Bible, use the index.
Right. Right. Now, I mean, that's a part of life. Now, I will say, if you are not adept with using technology, don't be up there fumbling with, you know, an iPad, or if you still got the iPad 1.5 up there with the 31-pin connector.
Not the 31 pin.
If you got a gas-powered iPad, you need to stop.
Gas powered.
You need to stop. So, I mean, it's a fact of life. You know what I mean? It to me, because I'm a techie, hey, I've been on it.
You always
man.
been. Yeah.
Always been.
Sounds like
Always been on that nerd tip. But, you know, we have our comfort zones. One of the other things, you know, bleeding off of technology is worship in general. I realize that there, like everybody else, there is an era and a feel of worship that I am a little stuck in. Mm-hmm. And I will embrace whoever can do what's new, but it ain't me no more. And people are like, why you keep singing them old songs? Because I know how to sing them. And this new stuff, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So my mind is made up on my way up. You know, I'm going to hold my head up, because it's just like I realize I have my sweet spot, and that has a lot to do with how we were raised. Yes. And that also gives me sympathy for older generations I used to criticize. Why you always want to hear that old song, them old choir? Because now all I want to hear is Hezzy and John P. Key.
But it's a certain... I'm about to make up another word.
Make up a word, it's another Baptist bishop.
Fuck them.
With
the song, like it's another type of groove from that era.
Funk and soul has to be ingrained in the worship. All this cotton candy pop Broadway gospel is not for me. I mean, it is great for but you know what? People who weren't raised on groove won't look for it.
And then they don't know how to duplicate it either.
They don't know how to do it. Lord.
I'm about to get in trouble.
Bruh, we about to get in trouble.
Religiously incorrect.
Get religiously incorrect. Please get religiously incorrect.
Yes, sir.
Because some of these praise bumps are whack. They sound like carnival show. Give me the old hand clap, foot stomp, guitar spank, shout.
But there's an oil to that bass
oil.
run.
If you got it.
Yes, sir.
If you got it.
If you really got it. Authentically.
But I'm saying, I admit I'm stuck, and I don't mind saying, like, at first it was a battle. We've even done shows about it. It's been 5 years since we've done the show. Now I'm not even in a worship war anymore. I'm a retired vet in the worship war. I'm serious. I'm officially a retired vet in the worship war. I know my lane. I know my space. I respect everyone who can do what is for this generation, and knowing that I have a place.
Yeah.
I have a place, I have a space, and I will, and I want to manage it well. Bishop Clark just said a couple weeks ago at Berean, I'm not about to be up here in t-shirt and skinny jeans. He's like, I just got to be myself. Yeah. I have to be me. He's like, and that's for me. And if somebody else can be that, be that.
Yes,
so I acknowledge that my oldest self will always kind of be like, that song was nice. Remember when we used to get pity patted?
Yeah,
when we would do our thing.
I hate when my dad did that.
And then the preachers would get up and have real church.
Exactly. That's how we do it. This.
Get up. And like, that was nice what y'all did.
Exactly.
You know,
that was cute.
But now, Jesus getting us ready for that. You know what I mean? Because that's what their space was. So I acknowledge in my oldish self, this is me.
I know, because I know y'all music buffs and music heads.
Mm-hmm.
What is I don't want you really to name a song, but what type of praise, what type of worship don't you like? See, because I can vibe to most of it.
I don't even know the songs, to be honest, because I don't even listen to them. I couldn't even tell.
So you're talking about new artists.
Like newer music. I don't even listen to it.
It's very different, and it's very commercialized. So I think the whole searching for, the old church would say stuff like, we're searching for the North. I don't feel the oil. I think that kind of is where we're at.
Some of that we don't.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Okay, so you're talking about like the song of the Lord. Let's just make up songs.
Well, not that, but also like, what I've been seeing these videos, it cracks me up when there have been these videos out, and I was like Maverick City-ish, where like everybody's in a cream jogging suit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In a barn or something. You know what I mean? And all they're singing is hallelujah, salvation, and glory. And I'm like,
that's Jason White.
Okay, right. But I love it. But I see these videos YouTube, like, look at how they getting into it. And they jump, like 300 people in the sanctuary singing it. Look at how, I'm like, bro, we've been sounding that beautiful. Where have you been? Now, you might pick on smaller, less equipped ministries and say, oh, well, it's not as excellent as it could be. But I'm like, the oil and the power of the music has always been there in every style of music. So I feel like in some cases, not all, we're trying to replace anointing with good production.
Ooh-wee.
And sometimes you can tell the difference. And I have sat at the Baptist church revival. I'm preaching to somebody's church, and the choir is barely in 2 parts. You know what I mean? And the musicians aren't that great and perfect.
Right.
But man, when they sing from the heart,
there it is.
Yes.
And you got to respect them singing from the heart and stop sitting back talking about, well, where's the click track? Where's the stems at? And how come, we ain't gonna hold mics in the front of the choir and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm stuck on that because when you've seen God move,
hello, somebody.
And I pray that God will move in whatever he's moving in through those people who are doing what God is calling them. I'm happy for him. Yes, but I'm not going to try to be what I can't be, and I'm not going to disrespect where we come from.
That's it.
But that's the oldish me. Like, I'm accepting. Like, it's not even a battle anymore.
Yeah.
It's like.
Pastor, now I have to admit, it took me a minute to get used to the click track.
My wife still don't like them.
Really?
She'd be like, why is that? Turn it off.
It irritates me too.
But see,
it irritates me.
They start playing it, and like soon as people hear it, they ready to shout. It's like if you wouldn't have heard
that part, I tell you,
don't shout.
I'm telling you, that can be a little grating to me because we have in the church. I'm old enough to remember when praise breaks were completely organic.
Yes.
Right.
I remember when it took just one person jumping up and running out in the aisle. I'm talking like a fit.
Right.
We call it Baptist fits in our day. When shouting was shouting, it was actually shouting. It was fast.
It was fast.
You had to have the Holy Ghost to shout to that.
Exactly.
You had to have the Holy Ghost to shout to that. Otherwise, you just jump up and down until you fall out. But you couldn't.
Because these guys now, they
be practicing.
They be practicing and walking and doing little moves.
Like watching videos, and no disrespect, because some of y'all might know who these people are, but watching videos of preachers watch each other shout. Smile and then watch each other shout. Smile and then watch each other shout. I'm like, all right, that was pretty good, Doc. Let me do my slide.
And like, if I could talk from a drumming perspective, please. I will say this. I have no problem because we didn't grow up on the click track. That came. I was really done playing heavy when the click track came about. Mm-hmm. But I will say it has its place.
It has a place.
There are times. I mean, it keeps everything tight. I'm not talking about a manufacturer because one thing that I'm going to say this as a second generation Church of God in Christ. Not you got to be born in.
You can't join in. You got to be born in.
That I had to program myself. There are Sundays I want to shout so bad, but if it's not there, I'm not going to force it. You're not going to force it. But because of that, when we do go there. It's authentic. Everybody jumping up, and we got different cultures. So we got the people that's shouting, then we got the people that's hopping, then we got the people that's hopscotching, then we got the people.
And let me say this.
All of it.
My click track was Alton Merle Jr. and Carvel.
Okay, listen, that's all you
heard.
That's a lethal combination.
That was a click track right there. We went in.
That's some Eddie and Kevin Howard stuff right there. That's some Elder Mike and Ken Barrett Barnes stuff right there.
I can't even remember the bass player's name. What's the bass player's name?
Kathy.
Caffey, Paul Caffey.
Paul Caffey. Woo!
And it's funny because we could name in our little city.
Yeah.
Quayne and Lamar.
Yep. Monsters.
You know,
Monsters.
Elder Mike and Kimberry. You can name them, and you're right. And I'll just say this, and we'll jump off of this point of having this. We are going to deal in a generation of more and more people who are unchurched to the style of church.
Yeah.
My own boys, like I pick on them. I'd be like, clap with the music. I'll play like a track in the car. I'll clap with the music. And I realized, like, because they're not as churched. I made this point in church a few weeks ago. I said, these kids now go to church. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between being a kid who goes to church and a church kid.
Yeah.
A church kid has to go 3-4 times a week.
Yep.
Have to be there every night of revival.
Yep.
A church kid with the jurisdictional meetings and prayer. Because I realized my boys, and probably my daughter too, cannot clap on beat the same way I could when I was their age. Like, you know, and you knew how to do it because they haven't had enough of it. And some of you, now, Cam doesn't have this problem. His children.
Yeah, they extremely.
They go in.
Oh my God.
They go in because they're not church. Yeah, mine aren't churchy.
Yeah, the other day my wife recorded it. I guess my daughter had Cameron falling out. And she was like, I'm practicing for when I get on the altar ministry.
Listen, here we go. We played church. We slayed folk. We slayed folk. And here's the thing, not just our children, but here's where the click track does help. Because we all have to sit back and watch people clap off beat to the shouts now.
Yeah.
When we grew up, everybody was on it, especially if you grew up in Pentecostal church.
Yes, sir.
And the one bad side product, I should say, or byproduct, I should say, and no disrespect to my full gospel Baptist folk, but the shouts just don't hit the same all the time.
Yeah.
And in our church even, and I be looking out like, these people are not clapping on beat. Play the track. Play the track.
Because they got the clapping.
But the praise is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The praise is there. And so this musical thing can help people get to where they weren't raised to be. Yeah. They can participate better because it's not all on them.
Now, so see, also back in the day, the younger guys like me, you know, probably Todd's age and Bishop, we couldn't wait to get to church because we wanted the front row by the musicians.
We wanted to be by them.
So we could be
with them.
First.
We were the original church groupies.
Right, I couldn't wait for communion, so Elder Kevin Howard get off an offering.
Right, you get on. Can I play for offering, Doc? Can I play for? And we idolized the people who were excellent at what they did, whether you sang, when the good choirs came, when the band started piling up and cats just standing behind each other, watching each other at the musicals. Right. We just lived.
You don't have that no more.
With that, you know, and so we don't have it. We'd be lucky to have kids want to get up and tinkle a little bit on the piano after church is over. Right. We literally wanted to be on and bang till we figured it out. Yeah. And again, we had more church to figure it out. Yeah. Now we just have Sunday morning, and then Sunday morning after church jam.
Woo,
man.
Staying all night after night service.
Church was kill.
Yeah, man, that was before they called it shedding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was just,
when they first started calling, because I wasn't playing heavy, I said, "What's a shed?
What is a shed?
What is that?"
Oh, y'all just say, we've been doing that.
Exactly, like, doing that forever.
Yeah, what you talking about? I want to end on this. We're young and not so young. We're oldish. How it has gone in the raising of our families. Wow. When I started pastoring at my father's church in 2012, London was 4, Elias was 2, Ethan didn't exist yet. And when we came to second, you know, they were at a certain age. And now my family and my marriage, every part of my family existence has grown up with my ministry. You know what I mean? And, you know, my wife and I definitely look at the church and at our ministry and leadership reality a lot different than we did when we were the little prince and princess of the new pastor and cute first lady and all that stuff. And there's a deeper appreciation and love for people. There's also like a guard that has gone up. Like a protection,
yes, sir.
You know, an understanding, like dealing with a lot of things has brought us very close together in the things that we share. My children see and understand, have to hear and experience certain things. I said it a year or two ago at an anniversary. I said, as my children are getting older, London was in probably 7th, 8th grade. Elias like 5th grade, something like that. I was saying, please be kind to my children because now they're old enough to understand what is being said. People get more loose-lipped with them. You know, my daughter goes to high school and knows whose parents don't like her dad.
Ooh-wee.
Wow.
She knows who, in the church and out the church, just in the community, who doesn't like her father. She knows. You know, and so that's a weird thing because we start off in this innocence. Me and Shamika first. Everybody loves us. Like, well, they don't. You know what I mean? And now my kids have to live with that too. So, like, how do you feel that has affected your lives? Because all of us started either with just our family's not quite even here yet. But now we didn't raise our children up. How do you think that's affected you, marriage and kids wise?
Well, I'm kind of in the same trajectory as you, but not fully because Camille was actually a sign, if you will, of me starting the Fresh Church.
Wow.
So, like you said, you know, my kids grew
with the church.
With the church, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. I mean, they're still very young.
Right.
Camille is 9. Cameron is 5. I think what I'm loving as far as raising them in this time is, like you said, the whole church kid thing. You know, I'm excited to brag, you know, that at our church we actually have church kids like we knew them.
Right,
when
right.
we grew up, they like coming to church, they like practicing. And that's a big shout out to our youth director, Naomi McKinney. She's doing a phenomenal job.
Bless you.
And just helping to raise them. So my kids are coming up in that. Before her, we had another, my assistant pastor now, Pastor Stout. He was really instrumental with the young people. So, I mean, you know, growing up, they had a sense of church. Camille went to a Christian school in Meadville. We recently moved back to Youngstown. So, you know, Cameron's starting off in Youngstown. So we need to pray for him because he's acting like Youngstown.
Yes.
He's in the
another one,
He's in
baby.
the yo.
Another one. Yeah.
Lord save him.
We need him.
Lord save him.
So I mean, it's been interesting. I try to be transparent with them. I understand the time that we're living in now. I understand, you know, the way, you know, we you know, I don't know if y'all remember Bebe's kids, but
right.
What's his name? Robin Harris. Whip you when I wanna. You know, my dad raised me on that, but I try to, you know, I
try to balance it out.
But I try to balance them out.
Right.
And you know, prayerfully, so far it's going well. We just got to keep Cameron in prayer because, like I said, he's
gonna be exposed.
I said I wasn't a thug as a kid, but you got a little bit Tupac in there.
Right.
Youngstown, baby.
You about it.
For me, it was more. I think it was more my wife. 'Cause my wife never wanted me to pastor. You know, she was cool with me being a minister. She was cool with me. You know what I'm saying? But when the Lord called me into the pastorate, it was different. And you know, we had a lot of arguments. There was a lot of, and so now that she's coming into her own, and she actually has embraced being a first lady, and and I think it has a lot to do with where we are now. And the way they treat me and treat us and love on us. And, you know, we reciprocate that love. And so to watch her grow for me has made a world of a difference. I mean, you know, I've had a kid in every generation. You know, my daughter was born before Pastor Harrison was even at Union.
Wow.
Pastor Mayton was there when my daughter was born. You know, Asia came along you know, we were at Beulah, and she done, and she, you know, she grew, and you know, she's still spiritual, but she's not really churchy.
Right.
She never got really churchy, but she's definitely still spiritual. Both my sons, I was just blessed and fortunate enough to baptize my, you know, Christian, and Grayson is just the Tasmanian devil. So.
Hilarious.
But all of them are doing really well. You know, my daughter is down in Columbus, and her and her family are all, you know, doing well in church, you know. And so I'm thanking God that we raised a generation of several generations of church kids, and we hope that they continue to grow and do the things that the Lord would have them to do.
Part of me is grateful that I always wanted to have like that, for lack of a better term, like family church dynasty. Like, because I saw other families that went through like this powerful season where it was just like, man, you say a family name and it was just blah. Right. We went through it for a short time with me and my siblings and under my father, and then it ended. my wife and I on this end of it now, like that's probably the very best thing for us, that we are like independent, and not because we want to be detached or estranged from the family, but because it just gives you breathing room to be yourself, to develop your family. And I'm almost glad in a way that it's not like a churchy thing all the time with us, because our kids have to sacrifice so much in ways that we don't think, and just living life a little differently. And councilman and pastor and just this very visible figure, it's like, okay, so we do have to have balance and just be football boys.
Yeah.
Like, just be football boys. You don't have to be my organist and drummer. You don't have to be. They like to play junior deacon, and they really are into serving and helping, but they're serving on a tech ministry.
Yeah.
And so it won't be like me, and I'm accepting that, because I played for my father, and I was my father's guy for years. Yeah. And I've accepted that there's at this point, an 85, 90% chance my boys will not be that.
Yeah.
They'll be with me, but they're not going to be the ones backing me up when nobody else can be there. And And so, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're going to need that balance to go, like you said, your daughter Asia, like be their own person. They're not going to be under my thumb always. So I don't want them to come out of the church resentful and deconstructing and questioning everything, because they can already start asking those questions. We can already talk about the realness, and hopefully they won't be having these, everybody hated my dad, talked about the pastor and treated my dad so wrong, because that's how we come up watching our parents get, and then we get mad. So it's better to just have these honest conversations now, so they can be a little balanced.
And Cam, I don't know how you are, but I know you have to do what I do. How long does it take you to get to Meadville?
Hour.
It takes you an hour.
I love it though.
And so do I. It's an hour and 15 minutes for me down the stupid. So the way home, there's a conversation of which church, what. Yes. It's not just with me and my wife. The kids are engaged in this conversation, and this conversation is a connecting piece for us.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? What happened, and my son is laughing, and we're all laughing about, what mistakes I made, and how the choir sounded. All of it is a beautiful thing, though.
It is.
I drive home in 7 minutes to go to sleep.
But you know what? You're right, because a lot of people ask me, that ride, that's long. I'm like, first of all, I've been taking this drive for like 7 years.
Long time, you got it.
Really, it's. Even if it's by myself, just time to reflect, talk to God, chill. Don't think about church at all, whatever.
Right. You get to veg out a little bit.
Absolutely.
It is.
Listen, he put on like Tupac on the way home from church. California love. He need to get in the car. That's Bishop. Man, first of all, I love the journey we're on. I love having brothers, and Pastor Kevin and Pastor Kent, Pastor Mark, Pastor Barner. We know all these people in various phases of our generation, and I'm just grateful to see that journey, see how it's like. I wonder what it'd be like if our fathers and the elders had this kind of platform and this kind of freedom to talk about life. I know they had office conversations, and they would, go in the back and drink, sip, and smoke cigars and stuff. I'm joking, but I'm saying, I'm grateful we do have this freedom, but still have this connection and context to those old school values. So we're like still kind of in between. And
so when do you, and I know we got to go, but when do you think we cross that threshold from oldish to old?
When folks start calling you dad.
When more than 3 people are calling me Unc. When more than 3 people are calling me Unc. Because some people are just going to say it because it's become popular to say. Yeah. And everybody just wants to make a spiritual father out of everybody or be connected. But when people really start like calling you that on a regular, and you start turning into Unc and then dad, that's when you know.
Wait till they start calling you OG.
OG. OG preachers in the house.
Yeah, wait for that, man. That really tripped me out. I'm like, who you talking to? Me?
I feel it now. I feel like I've stepped into this seasoned season. I feel like I've stepped into a seasoned season, but I still have the age and vitality and vibrancy and sometimes a look of youth. Especially, it's hard here. Where we live now, we're still the young guys.
Yeah.
There were other cities and other places where there's a whole crop of young dudes and sisters just running circles around, the church. And so if you moved 2 states over and you were in Detroit and there was a bunch of cats in their 20s and 30s that had started churches and all, you be the young.
And I tell you what, for me, I think, honestly, because this is my third church. I think every time you go to a new place, it reinvigorates. If I had been at that same church all the time, I may feel a little more seasoned. But I feel like, being the new, not only just the new guy at the church, but I'm the new guy in the city.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
does
So
give you
that
some-
gives you a
that does.
whole
It
new,
does.
But you
But you brought
range of-
maturity with you too, though.
Absolutely.
You bring so
Absolutely.
it's like energy tied with the maturity to help you manage it.
Absolutely.
And really express it and be your best self. So I mean,
I'm just happy
loving
to
it.
see. I'm just happy to see all the young ministers and pastors getting along.
Yes,
We do.
sir.
We do.
That is so.
It's the older ones I don't
inspiring.
like. No, I'm joking. Kinda. But I mean, you're right. I mean, we'd have a great relationship, man. We really do. I mean, we cut up together. We pick on each other, text each other. We talk about each other. I mean, so I'm loving it, and I want to keep those relationships strong because we're gonna need each other.
Yes.
But y'all give it up for Bishop Bowman being in the
Please do.
house.
Bless you.
Bishop Bowman, thank you for being with us,
No
man.
problem. No
We
problem.
wish you wonderful blessings, and we're doing phenomenal things with the One Body Covenant Fellowship under Bishop Jermaine Moore. And we're always praying for you. We know that the grieving process is a process. And so as you remember, Pops on this day, we honor his memory. And I'm just a po' boy.
Yes, sir.
I love it, man. And we thank God for Pastor Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, Bishop Jermaine is right around the corner.
Yeah.
From me. Literally like 2 minutes away from me. And every time I got to ride past his church to go to my church and leave. Obviously, they have church.
They be having church.
So I ride past him. He get near. They still in, but sometimes I do get a chance to stop and see him. And the other day I stopped and saw him. His ring was bigger than my whole hand. I tried to kiss his ring. He wouldn't let me kiss the ring.
That's a Super Bowl ring. Super Bowl 78 ring.
I said, Bishop, look at the ring, man.
I'll pawn that and become a millionaire.
I love it. Right. Thank you, Pastor Thomas. We love you,
Pastor
Apostle.
Thomas,
Bless
yes,
you, man.
sir.
Elder
We gotta have
Carter.
Pastor Thomas on.
We gotta
That
have
would
him
be
back
great.
on.
Yes.
Yeah. We gotta throw him back in here.
He was on.
He was on virtually when we were
yeah,
virtual back in the day. So we got to swing back around with some of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Listen, y'all know what to do. Follow us, like us, share, add your commentary later. I'm not going to read your comments, but go ahead and add your commentary later. Not going to argue with you after the fact. But we really appreciate all of you who come in. If you're new to Religiously Incorrect, you came because the bishop was in the room today, make sure you like and follow us and come back and watch me and Jeff stumble through a show next week.
Absolutely.
And try to make it without the bishop. We'll just keep having Bishop back. We'll just keep having Bishop Bowman back over and over again.
It's Sunday night service every Sunday night, 8-ish.
Kevin, be ready next week.
We got you, Kev.
Text Pastor Kevin and tell him
I don't know if we can really. I don't know if we can really have Marlon. I don't know if we can really. Marlon will have us laughing the whole show.
We can't have Marlon on, man.
He too ignorant.
He get us canceled.
He's too ignorant.
Love you, too ignorant.
He called him ignorant.
He got the FTC complaints, standards and practices. Man, we love y'all. Until next week, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Sunday night, Religiously Incorrect Sunday night service. Peace out.
Peace, y'all.